just asking for two figures, and this is the historic pattern of these storms that we're talking about that impacted New Orleans and other things. So let me just explain what the data set when you download it is. There's three different chunks of data, right? The first is this one here, A through G, is the number of storms in that year. Now, this is not all storms hit the U.S. The way we track storms is based on geography. So these are the Atlantic hurricanes. So these are hurricanes that come out of the Atlantic, and these are ones that have made landfall in the U.S. And the number here, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, is indicating the strength of the storm. So the higher the number, the stronger, potentially more destructive the storm is. Now, we're in the process, or some folks claim, I poke them every other year or two, and they're like, it's not ready for prime time yet. But there's some movement to have a new rating system for hurricanes. This only takes into account wind speed, right? So what this is, the hurricane category is based on the force of the winds. This guide was come together, or was basically produced by some engineers that work for the Red Cross, and were responding to disasters in Latin America. And they needed a quick and dirty. So they were kind of the early response team. It's like if you and I jumped on a plane right after the disaster and went around and did a quick assessment, so we could tell our agency, oh my God, these guys are gonna need 100 homes, these guys are gonna need 300 sacks of flour, like that kind of level stuff. And they were finding it hard to prioritize stuff and to figure stuff out. So what they figured out was, hey, actually, because a lot of these countries that don't have really awesome building standards are using pretty flimsy materials, one of the things they noticed was the roofs were some of the most vulnerable areas, and so the roofs were getting impacted by the wind speed. So they said, what if we just broke down the storms based on wind speed? And essentially, I'm simplifying it a bit, but that's essentially where we get this number. So all of our hurricanes are cyclonic storms. The first phase is called a tropical depression. The second phase is called a tropical storm. And then when the storm gets big enough, it eventually crosses into the hurricane category, the Hurricane 1, and then it goes higher and higher and higher. So what I've shown you right here, for example, in column B, that's the number of hurricanes that, and again, these are the ones that made U.S. landfall. It's not all of them in the Atlantic, but these are ones that made U.S. landfall as a category 1, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, and then the grand total is, I've just added all those up for you. Cool? And so that goes from 1851 to the most recent year I have for you right now. It takes a little while for them to authenticate everything. So I only have us up to 2024, the 2024 season. And then this is the same exact decade. H through N is the same exact decade. Or excuse me, the same exact data. I've just binned it by decade. So you can decide how you want to visualize it. Maybe you feel that the decade is cleaner for you. Maybe you feel the years, the individual years. It doesn't matter. But one of the figures I want you to produce is the number of hurricanes over time. Okay, so that's one figure. The other figure is the number of tropical storms over time. Now this is a little different. So this data set over here, this one, this is all of the Atlantic. So these are not necessarily storms that made landfall. So this could be a little storm that popped up for like an hour and then fell away. And it could be stuff in the middle that didn't do anything, or it could be stuff that made landfall. So there's many, many storms here. And I just want to be clear that these are not all storms that made it to the U.S., but just sort of the overall potential. You think there's the potential for hurricanes in the Atlantic. And this is all of the Atlantic. Cool?